All right. Well, let's move from our review into our member segment. Today, we are talking about the top 10 games we want to go deep with in 2021. As I said up at the beginning, these are not our top 10 games of 2020, which we are going to be doing in a couple weeks, maybe even next week, I think. These are not our top 10 games we're excited to play in 2021. These are our top 10 games that we want to go deep with in 2021.
Deep. Yeah.
Deep. Not wide. Deep. Ben, why don't you start us off? Did you actually rank yours, or are we just sort of saying 10?
I ranked mine.
All right. I had that ready.
Okay, yeah. I have my honorary mentions, of course, because you know me, I'm not known for brevity.
HM.
So here, I've got 5 real quick honorary mentions.
Oh my God, I have exactly 5 too.
We are alike. My number, I actually ranked these 2, but it doesn't really matter with the rankings with these. But this one is a weird one because I don't love this game, but there's so much in it that I just still want to explore it before I fully write it off, if that makes sense. And that's Black Angel, because it's such a like messy beast of a game that's totally inelegant, but I also feel like there's a lot of stuff in there, and like I have enjoyed playing it, but I really it doesn't capture me the way I want it to. But I also feel like I want to explore it. There's still a lot of stuff I want to explore, so that's what how about this? How about I just go through all my honorary mentions and then we'll flip off? Okay. Here's another odd one, Lancaster. It's a really fun game, and it's kind of one I want to go deep on because there's this whole thing at the end of every round in Lancaster where everyone has to, there are these laws that come up and the laws affect the game and everyone votes on them. And I kind of feel like it would be a really fun game to go deep on because really understanding those laws and having an awareness of what's coming down the pike could really make a very interesting gameplay while you're playing the game. Knowing really, really what's coming down the pike could make that really fun. And it's a really good game. And I feel like we've sort of forgotten about it. Forum Trajanum is this really cool, chunky, twisty feld, which is, you know, it has a lot of things going on. It's just a kind of a crazy beast. It's on Yukata if people want to try it. And there's a lot of strategies to try in that. So I would
like you to teach me that one.
Absolutely. It's really fun and interesting. Railroad Evolution, which is actually my first review that I did on this show. Really enjoyed that.
I feel like that came out right before the pandemic.
It did. And you know what? If Railroad Evolution were if it were just like its own standalone game and not an expansion, that's probably a top 10 of the year. And Underwater Cities New Discoveries. I love Underwater Cities, and I've already played it a lot. And there's always been this talk about kelp, and Underwater Cities New Discoveries kind of like evens that out. And just in general, I think most board games that involve a lot of card play, you kind of want to go deep on because you want to see how all these cards interact. So I think those are my top 5 for like today. Tomorrow they'll be different. Okay. Top 5 honorary mentions, I should say.
I'll just run through mine really quick. Kalis 1303. I just want to play a lot more of it. Everdell. This is the game I hope my wife and I get even deeper into this year. Root. I just feel like it deserves more and I want to give it more. Gaia Project, I always just want to replace that. And Kingdom Death Monster, I have no idea when I will get to it, but I really would like to get deep into that campaign.
Yeah, Gaia Project's a great choice.
All right, let's do our number 10s. Hit me with your 10.
Maracaibo. I love this game. And again, this is a perfect example of a game that has a lot of card play that interacts very interestingly. And there's also this casual legacy element. I don't really care about legacy that much, but I've actually enjoyed how it has impacted the gameplay. And so I'm not really in it for the story. I'm just in it to see how it impacts things. I think it's just a super, super fun game. And I just want to play with more and more of those cards.
Now I feel like I should have put that on mine. I love that game too.
That's okay. Pretend like it was on.
Well, and when I think of these games, this is like I'm going to keep this list as a notes on my phone, and it's like unless I have a really good reason to play something else, these are the games I should be focusing on this year. That's how I make this list.
I also want to add another element to this, which is that when I was choosing mine, I sort of was vacillating between. I want to go deep on this game because I want to explore all these like strategies and cards. But there's also a part of me that says, I can imagine this being a really fun ritual game where I like every week like my friends and I, like this one group, we always get together and we play this game and see how it goes. Because there is something about that of like we all come together. It's our weekly poker night. It's our weekly Catan night. It's our weekly whatever. So it kind of is like this one falls more in the I want to explore all the cards, etc. And do
Sure,
this,
sure,
you
sure.
know. Yeah.
Well, this one falls under I want to explore the strategies. This is Barrage, my number 10. This is a game I hope to play a lot this year. I really, really want to explore the many different routes of Barrage, including the late water expansion.
Oh god, it's so good. And the new 5-player map, I cannot
know.
wait to play
Can't
with
wait.
that. It's great.
What's your number 9?
Arkwright. I love
Hmm.
Arkwright. I love Arkwright, and I don't get
Have
to
you
play
played
it
the
enough.
card game yet?
Yeah, Paul and I and Elder, we played it on Tabletopia. I backed it. It was interesting. It's just that the Tabletopia implementation is so clunky. I felt like I got in the way of like really knowing what the experience is like. But I like the card game. I mean, it's like a $30 Kickstarter. But Arkwright
It
itself,
doesn't replace it for you.
no, Arkwright to me is like just a wonderful, chunky. Have you played it? Have you played
Oh
Arkwright?
yeah, a lot.
I think it's just that's one I would
Love
love to really just dig into and just try different things.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
My number 9 is Too Many Bones. I own the Too Many Bones big box. I own everything that has ever been produced for Too Many Bones, and I either need to play it all or feel really bad about myself. So this is my guilt pick of just like, Matt, you've spent way too much money on Too Many Bones. You are gonna enjoy it and not just play the same 3 characters and the same campaign over and over again, but explore all the characters and all the campaigns.
No bone about it.
Number 8.
My number 8 is here's a surprise. I think Fast Sloths.
Hmm.
Fast Sloths is a pretty light game. I've only played it at 3 players, and I would love to play it at 5 players because I hear it gets pretty chaotic in a fun way at 5 players. And this falls into like that a little bit of the card thing, but more the ritualist thing. I can see the fun of just like having a semi-regular game of this where, it gets probably increasingly more cutthroat. Joel Eddy on Drive Through
Yeah.
reviews,
That's a review. Yeah.
he's raved about it, and he says with his group, because they're all pretty intense gamers, what is a light game turns very, very cutthroat. And I do enjoy that when a game can sort of like be as light or as cutthroat as you want to make it.
We'll add that to the list of games you have to teach me this year.
It's a fast play, and it's really easy rules.
My number 8 is Underwater Cities, which is in your honorable mentions. I absolutely adore this game and really want to get deep with the expansion. What's it called? Something.
New Discoveries.
New Discoveries, yeah. They have Underwater Cities now on yukata.de, and I've been playing it on there and playing it solo a bit on there because it's a very fun solo game. But yeah, I really they don't have the expansion yet on there, but I adore this game.
So good.
It's a really it feels a lot like Terraforming Mars to me, but it feels like a very different version of it, and it does what sort of scratches the same itch of this card based engine building, but it's different enough and interesting enough that it feels like a different game to me. But I adore it. I really it's a long beast of a game, but it is wonderful.
It is one of my favorite games of all time, and there was just so much attention about there was so much press or whatever press, but like so much chatter about the kelp strategy that it really distracted away people from the fact that this game is like so much fun it hurts.
Yeah, and you have to play his newest game, Praga.
Oh yes, I know. And by the way, I will say when we did play New Discoveries together with Elder and I think Tom, and that was one of my gaming highlights of the year.
Oh, so fun. That was like, I think that was like the last game night.
Yeah, I think it was one of the last.
Anyway. You're number 7.
Nations.
Ooh,
Nations. Yeah. I love Nations, and I also have gone whole hog with it. I've got Nations Dynasties and lots of asymmetric things going on, huge decks of cards, things that have never been explored on the game for me. I don't get to play this game enough, and it is so supremely fun and painful, and it's one of my favorites, and I feel like I've been ignoring it, and I think I'm ready to go deep with it.
I feel like this is like Beatles and Rolling Stones. You have to either pick Nations or Through the Ages, and I picked Through the Ages, but I would like to give Nations another try.
Through the Ages is great. I've I've had a really great time with it, but there's something about Nations that I love it. I love it.
All right. Well, I only played it once, and I did enjoy it, but not enough as Through the Ages, and it felt like it scratched the same itch. But let's try it again together.
Okay.
My number 7 is Brass, Lancashire or
Mm.
Birmingham. Last week's review, it just deserves so much more play, and it's one of those games that I would like to feel like I have fully explored, and I cannot say that yet, and it deserves it.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't put that on my list. That's like for sure. That's like how you felt about Maracaibo is how I feel about Brass.
Yeah.
It's
Honorable mentions. Honorable mentions.
yeah, like beyond honorable mention. My number 6, 18XX. I sort of lumped it as one big genre,
Yep.
which is kind of a cheat.
No,
But
you'll find many. I have a couple cheats coming up.
okay, yeah, I think I've been having so much fun exploring it, and I feel like I'm only at the tip of the iceberg. Like I said earlier, with the 18 Chesapeake and 1889 sort of don't have. They're pretty straightforward. And 18 Mex and 1860 started to see some funny business, and I am like excited to dive into like the crazier versions where there's like crazy powers and crazy things where after this round this happens and this happens and that happens. I'm really excited and to go down this path and just explore it all.
I love it. Yeah. I think you might have, I might have one of those later in my list.
Oh.
My number 6 is Food Chain Magnet. I have not played the ketchup mechanic expansion yet, if you can believe it. I own it. It came out right when my baby was born and right before the pandemic, and I have never played it. And I would really like to go deep with that this year.
That's a great option. I played. I had played Food Chain Magnate for the first time, like when it first came out, and I had actually a very like dominant win. And for some reason, I felt reluctant to go back to playing it because I played so well that I almost felt like I didn't want to like taint that. And then I was like, fine, I'm gonna, because Tom talked about it so much on the podcast that I was like, okay, I'm going to play it again. So I played with Tom and Jesse, and we played the ketchup expansion. And I think I ended the game with like about $5, maybe $25 to Tom's like $1,200. And I just got utterly destroyed. And that night I went out and I bought Food Chain Magnate and the ketchup expansion because it was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I hope I can play it a lot this year. What is your number 5 heading into the top 5?
Top 5. Fields of Arl. This is, I'm sure I'll be playing with you. This is a
continuation. With me. Just play them all with me.
I'm going to do them all with you. These are our future dates when we go ballroom dancing. The Fields of Arl, I said this on the review, and I'm just going to continue it. There's so many levers to pull in this game, and it's a slow reveal. The first few times I played Fields of Arl, I thought it was like fine, nothing special. It was fine. And now I just always want to go back and try something else. And there's so many paths you can go down, which normally I'm like, it's too open, but I just want to keep trying. I want to try different things. And on top of that, it also has that, not only is there a strategic depth where you want to try different things, but it also has that ritualistic thing where it's like, I can imagine, finding my Fields of Arl buddy, and it's like, here's our weekly Fields of Arl or our monthly Fields of Arl game that we do, like it.
I could be that buddy, Ben.
I was sort of hinting at that.
Could be that buddy for you. What really bums me out is that I bought this game when like a month after Tea and Trade completely sold out its print run and is now $100.
Oh, that's okay.
Annoys me.
That's okay.
Annoys me. My number 5 is On Mars. I would like to go deep with a lot of VTOL games, so this could also just be VTOL games. But I think On Mars is the one that deserves the most depth. I have Kanban EV sitting on my table set up for solo, but man, I just want to play that with people. But yeah, if I had to pick a VTOL game, I'm going to go ahead and pick On Mars. I would really like to just play the pants off of On Mars.
Yeah, you and Elder taught that to me over break, and I really loved it. I would love to play that again.
Yeah. What is your number 4?
Here's another cheat. It's kind of like a combined category here. I'm saying Twilight Imperium TI4 slash Forbidden Stars because they're kind of like that same space. You know, these games are so fun. And but the thing is that these do require a full day. And I don't care what you say about Forbidden Stars being the more streamlined version. It's not. It takes 10 to 12 hours. I don't care what anyone says. It takes a long time. TI4 takes a long time. They're so fun, and there's so with TI4, there's like a lot of asymmetric powers, and on top of that, there in both of them, there's kind of like tech tree stuff going on. There's an actual tech tree in TI4. In Forbidden Stars, there's like a deck that you can build.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can try and experiment with, and factions. I just kind of want to like play these games over and over and over again, especially Forbidden Stars, which I like. I am
Well,
obsessed.
I love that game, so I would love to do that with you as well.
Well, we could add that onto our bro date. Forbidden
I'm gonna have
Stars.
to. I'm gonna have
We
to
can do
leave my family and quit my job.
yeah, some people say that Forbidden Stars is best as a two-player game. So, just saying.
My number 4 is 18XX, but I have limited it to 2 games:
Wow.
18 Ches and 1822.
I can't wait for 1822.
I know. I want those. I picked 2 18XXs. I don't care if I play any other 18XXs this whole year, but I would really like to become proficient. I've never played 1822. I want to go deep in it. And I have played 18 Chess a bunch, and I want to play it a bunch more.
I hope 1822 finds its way onto 18xx.games because that way I could play it. It looks like a beast, but it's a beast I'm ready for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know when I'll have time to do.
Yeah, someday. So my number 3, Food Chain Magnate. How about that?
Look at that. All right.
Yeah, everything you said. Yeah, it's great.
Everything you said. My number 3, Imperial Struggle. You will probably hear about it on my top games of the year. I couldn't be more obsessed with it. I couldn't love it more. It hasn't replaced Twilight Struggle for me, but it has also, because I don't care if I ever play Twilight Struggle again, because all I want to do is play Imperial Struggle. I think it's absolutely genius. I think it's near perfection, and I think it's the most innovative design of the year.
Yeah, Jesse. I feel like Jesse has been trying to get me to play it, and like I want to.
Oh my god, you would die! You would die. It is so good.
Well, here's the thing. This is definitely one of those games, which we also didn't really talk about, where you want to go deep on it because it's not just to explore the space, but like you just like you're always going to lose to the person who knows the game better.
Yeah, you have to.
So like you just have to train.
But it'll only take a couple games, whereas Twilight Struggle, it'll take you 100 games.
Yeah,
this will take you 4.
There's something about those games like Watergate, Twilight Struggle. I have Twilight Struggle, where sometimes it's like what I talked about before, where like with Agricola, where it's like when I play it, I'm like, this game's great, but then the actual like I have to summon an energy. I can't just sit down and play Twilight Struggle.
Different. It's different for this one. It's there. Okay. This one to me doesn't feel. This is a Euro. This is Fields of Arle. This is a big Euro.
Okay, all right. I mean, I kind of like. I don't believe it's Fields of Arle, but I will.
In terms of a huge sandbox strategy to explore.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So my number 2 is Maria. Yeah. So I got this game like 3 years ago, and finally I've finally got to play it with Paul and Tom like 2 months ago, and then we started a game, and then we didn't finish. We just I don't know. It sort of just like disappeared into the ether, and then Paul and I played with my friend Nick, and we played. Over the course of 2 nights, we did round 1, then round 2, and it was like amazingly fun. And like the chatter that it inspired between the 3 of us was so entertaining. And there was like so much drama that was unfolding on the board. And then it felt like at the end of every round, we would finish for the night. And I felt like watching a miniseries, like tune in tomorrow for Maria. And then at the end on night 3, when we loaded up the mod, something happened, and all of night 2 was not saved, and so we had to abandon it. And it was like a real sad moment because we all were intrigued to see how it was going to play out. Which is a long way of me saying I can't wait to just really go deep on this game, and like really like get to know it, and maybe even review it.
I have never played it.
Well, sounds like it's time for a three-way date.
My number 2 is Terraforming Mars Prelude. I want to play. This to me is now the number one app. This is the app. This is the app to beat. I think it's great, and it does a really great job of implementing it. It's still annoying to add a friend. You both have to be online at the same time, and then you have to search each other's names out. And then, but once you star that person's name, once they're in your friends, it's super easy to start games and play with them forever. It's just you have to jump through some hoops the first time you become friends. Once you're friends, you're good for life. But yeah, I just love Terraforming Mars Prelude, and it's one of those games that it's like so deep and so much going on and so fun at different player counts. So yeah, I hope to be playing a lot of that this year.
Terraforming Mars is great, and I think it's probably, for how long the game is and how like heavy it is, that's like in that class, it's probably the game I played the most. I feel actually pretty fortunate that that's a game I have gone deep with. Maybe not with Prelude, but I feel fortunate that I've had a lot of plays of Terraforming Mars, and I look forward to more and more and more. Terraforming Mars is just a classic. It's great.
Yeah. What is your number one?
My number one, this is the reason why I came up with this idea, because it's basically about my number one here. The number one game that I want to go deep with, like real deep, like so deep that I'm going to come out the other side. It's Roads and Boats. That's the one.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Roads and Boats.
I still have never played it.
Well,
because I know we have
a lot of dates. We have a lot of dates lined up.
Probably quit this podcast and just play 4 games.
Roads and Boats. I've played it. I think 2 or 3 times. And like the first time was with Tom and Trey, and we had we played like a 2 or 3 hours worth, and then we had to stop. I played with Elder and Alfred, but it was sort of like a learning game. Maybe I played another time. I don't remember, but in both times I had so much fun. I loved the idea of like building up this logistical network, and I want to get to the point where I like all the things are intuitive. Like I know that it requires this many planks to do this and that, and like where you're playing on that high level where you're not just like creating the roads or the whatever. You're just like playing at that level, that special place that comes when you understand the game, and then you're not playing to like figure out the game. You're playing to play yeah.
It's so funny because like I've read the rule book, I've watched a playthrough, and I don't get it. It's just like it won't click. I'm still struggling to figure out what the hell the game is. So I need to play it in order to I for some reason I can't grok it. I'm like, what's the game here? What am I doing?
You're kind of like racing a little bit. You're racing.
Yeah. Okay.
Play a solo. I actually dabbled with the solo. I don't do solo very often, but there are these. I'm blanking on their names. These 2 women. They do videos on BGG. They're Australian, and they're lovely and wonderful. And they did actually a great video about Roads and Boats about 2 weeks ago, where they talked about what the game is, but they really got into like the experience of it and what they liked, and like the little stories that they had, like oh, she went here and then I tried to do this.
And Thinker Themer is the name of their.
Yeah, they're really they do great
Maggie.
Amy and Maggie, they do great work. And that video, I think, will probably inspire you to go play with the solo mode as I did. And I think with the solo mode, you'll start to see the appeal. And this would be, God, I wish Roads and Boats had an implementation, like some semi-automated thing. It would be wonderful because it's so fiddly. But yeah, I want to play it.
All right. Yeah. We'll add that to my list as well. Ben, do you know my number one? I bet you can figure it out. Not complicated.
Agricola.
Hey, Agricola is my number one for all the reasons we talked about before. I want to become the number one Agricola player in the world.
Farmer.
No, I do not have a chance of doing that. But I would like to become a proficient Agricola player, and I hope to play it more than any other game this year. That's
good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good's your better and your better's your best.
That was awesome. That was really fun. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you very well might enjoy the other videos you now see being suggested to you on screen. Also, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, or subscribe to our Game Brain channel. Thanks so much.